I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice.
Do your own research.
Consult a professional investment advisor before making any investment decisions.
This show is for entertainment only. Faites vos propres recherches.
Here we are
in another episode
of the Simple Success Podcast.
And
this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective.
let us imagine good and think of what we'd do if we could see our dreams come true in view. For if we can envision that which is ahead, we'll have the courage to move forward instead.
Cool beans. Doing some Shakespeare.
Our minds should be open to all that's new. And with a vision of hope, our dreams will come true. We must focus on what we can do and use our imaginations to make it through. Let us create a world of beauty and grace, where all our dreams can be seen in one place. And thus we will see the power of our minds as we imagine good and leave behind all other kinds. So, it's all just a big act, then? No, not quite. Well, what? When we imagine good, we are actually engaging in a powerful mental exercise that can help us achieve our goals. So it's a game? In a sense, I guess it is, since imagining good is the practice of visualizing achievement before you even start working on it, then it's also about painting a picture in your mind of what you want and how it will feel. And that's why you talk to yourself about painting. I will admit to practicing and repeating. I most certainly do that. And to a good end, to a happy ending. What else? We are also engaging in positive self-talk. Oh, I see. We are telling ourselves that we can do it, that we have the skills and resources to make it happen.
Yep.
And this helps to build our confidence and gives us the courage to take the risks we need. And to try new things. Right. Imagining good is a great way to stay focused on the task at hand. Well, having a clear vision is pretty much always a good thing. That it is. At least it's easier to stay on track and avoid distractions that way. Easier said than done, though, right? Not at all, you sparkling grommet of doom. It's easy to do as well. Convince me. Okay, next time you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, take a few moments to imagine good and see where it takes you. So how can you know the outcome in advance? I mean, that's part of this, right? It is a little, but it's not really predictive or something to bet on. But you can imagine good. I can, you substance of falling infirmities. In fact, imagining good is a powerful tool, which explains why it should be used carefully. True. It allows us to think beyond what we can see in front of us and to consider all the possibilities that could come from our efforts. So it's sort of a dashboard, like in a lot of apps. Yeah, I suppose so. I hadn't exactly thought of it that way, but it very much works, so thanks.
You are welcome, de nada, de rien.
I meant that for DT. Yes, you did.
And I answered for him.
Any more about picture painting? Yes, but in the metaphorical sense. Well, metaphors require some imagination, so that fits just fine. Excellent. When we imagine good, we are able to create a mental picture of what success looks like, which of course means that we can then use this vision to inform our decisions and actions, and to stay motivated and inspired, taking risks. Try new things, knowing that we have a positive outcome in mind. Yep, even when the road is a bit rough, visualization of success can help keep us going. Well, sure, because we know that our efforts will eventually pay off. Plus, our actions have a ripple effect and can make a real difference in the world. So, just take a few moments to imagine good? Yep. If you've ever done any computer programming, you'll know the phrase garbage in, garbage out. Well, I use a similar phrase, attract mode on, to remind myself how to act and think. You never know what amazing things could come from that. I guess if you're not satisfied with your results, you need to change your way of doing things.
It's all a matter of belief.
Changing the way you do things can be a difficult process, but it is possible. Yes, it is possible. It starts with understanding what needs to change and then acting on it. You mean change my habits? I do. And this could mean doing just that, or setting new goals, or even changing your mindset. So start with figuring out what needs to change. Right, then act and make those changes happen. Cool. Hey John? Yes, my unrelated swine? Can Daniel make changes happen? Yes, he can. In fact, all he needs to say is...
Break number 1.
Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us, please subscribe to us in your favorite podcast player. You can find us on both the App Store and the Play Store because our message is for everyone. Leave a rating for us, or even better, tell a friend. Whichever you choose, thank you so much for helping us do this for you. To leave us a written message, which just might lead to more in a future podcast, go to those same written show notes to find our subreddits. There is also our Facebook group page, Twitter, and other ways which we'll tell you about from time to time. You can also find an Easter egg every so often, so listen closely. Thank you again, and keep those constructive ideas coming. Thank you. So, all Daniel needed to say is a reference to the break number? There's more to it than just that, of course, but the invitation is often the only thing the brain needs. So it can happen overnight. It can, but it doesn't usually work that way. It's important to remember that change can take time. So it's not something that happens overnight. It just seems that way sometimes. So it's important to be patient and consistent in your efforts. Right, and visualize, I suppose. When you change you change everything. I remember that. It used to be in almost every episode, and I suppose today's guest has something to add to this. Nay, I know not about that, but I do know that Gail's team specializes in creative approaches to businesses, helping to avoid imposter syndrome and other team building issues. Gail W., you mean? That's her, of Pearl Collective fame. Wow, let's get her input right away.
Hello, Gail. Glad to have you here with us today on Simple Success.
Hello, this is Gail Doby, and I am the co-founder of Pearl Collective, and we specialize in helping creative entrepreneurs make more money in their businesses. And okay. I'm just delighted to be here on your show today, John.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate your taking time to come. So tell me a little bit about your business and how it fits in to helping people achieve the goals that they need to achieve to better themselves.
Perfect. Well, it's a big question, and I'll do my best to tackle that one. And I would say that one of the things we've been doing over the last 15 years is we've been working with creative entrepreneurs that often have an imposter syndrome, or they have doubts about building a team because they're afraid that it's going to be more work to hire a team. And one of the questions that you asked me about before we got on here today was to talk a little bit about why team is important to reach your objectives. So it was really interesting to unpack the psychology behind some of the roadblocks that entrepreneurs put in their own way in terms of building their business to a more successful level. And so for me, I found that it was quite fascinating to hear somebody who's a very strong person and a very confident person tell me the real truth, which is that under the surface, she's very nervous about all of the things that you have to do to build a team. So I don't know if you've run into that before in the work that you do.
Oh, of course. Of course. There's always concern about whether or not you're doing it right? So that's often solved by looking at results. And in fact, I heard somebody tell me one time that if you're unhappy with how things are going, change how you're doing them.
Exactly. Well, and it's also, to me, and this is something that I really believe in, and this I am working on a signature talk right now, and it's really about business breakthrough, which is something that I wrote about a year and a half ago. And one of the things that I strongly believe is that in order to have a business breakthrough, you need to have a personal transformation. So without that being the case, you cannot really grow unless you grow as a person. So your business will be stagnant and maybe not growing to the level that it should if you personally have not grown beyond the skill set that you currently have. And the reality is that sometimes you have to look outside for someone else to be able to work with you to help you figure out what the right strategy is and the right direction to go. And perhaps you even need somebody who's more like an executive coach who can give you some feedback on your skills or some skills that you need to work on so that you can actually grow your business to the next level.
Why do you think that is, Gail?
Why you need somebody on the outside?
Yeah.
Well, don't you think it's a little hard to see ourselves the way we really are? We see ourselves the way we see ourselves. And we usually think we're pretty okay, but in reality, sometimes we don't know how we come across. And I'm sure you've heard of the Johari window. We all have blind spots.
Right.
And
Okay.
if we have blind spots, then how in the world can we really understand how other people perceive us? So
Right.
in order to
I've
be,
often had trouble. I've tried to explain that with a metaphor of the idea of I need other people to look at what I'm doing because what I'm doing is my baby, and I'm too close to my baby to tell whether or not it's ugly.
well,
And I
way
mean
that you
I mean that in a positive way. I mean I need
Sure.
people to look at something without the emotional input that I have and just say yes, this is good, or no, this is not.
Well, sometimes we don't want to hear it, but the reality is if we're not getting the results we want, then we probably do need someone else's perspective. And one of my mentors a long time ago, this is probably 15 years ago, I heard him say, if you're stuck for more than 3 days, you need to get help.
Mhm.
So if you're stuck in your business, you probably need help to see realistically what's going on. So
So tell
I think
me,
that, and go ahead.
so tell me an example of somebody that you've coached that you've helped to realize that situation and move forward to their own benefit.
Well, I've had conversations with people that have said to me, well, I don't know how to lead. And I've talked to their team members and I have gotten feedback. So I have done the 360 for them so that I could get the feedback and find out where that leader's blind spots were. And then I can bring those back to the leader and say, okay, what we need to do is work on this. This is the feedback I'm getting from your team, that you're focused more on the finances than you are on the team and the culture. So what we need to do is flip this and have you work on the culture, and then the finances will take care of themselves. So that's a pretty good example of one of the ways I've helped people.
Okay, excellent. So we'll go to your contact information so in a second. But before that, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
Well, I think one of the things that is so important is for us to continue to learn. We are works in progress. And just because we have a degree, and maybe it's years ago, we need to go back and get additional training. And today, luckily, we don't have to go back to traditional schools. We can go and get coaching and training from other people who have expertise in an area. So look for somebody who has expertise that is beyond where you are right now and can lead you down that path. I think that's the shortcut that I would share with the listeners. If you would like more information, we are at thepearlcollective.com or gaildoby.com, which is our media site.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate your insight and your help.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, John.
She's right. Agreed, but what specifically are you referring to? Oh, I'm referring to when she said that your business can't grow if you are not also willing to grow, which speaks to coaching and independent perspectives. Any other memorable phrases for you? Oh yeah, when she said, it's a bit hard to see ourselves objectively. That's very much like when I say, I'm too close to my own baby, meaning my business, to tell when it's ugly. Yeah, she just puts it a little better. Yeah, she does. So, do you know who uses the idea of imagining good? Famous people? Yeah.
You should try it.
Just people like Michael Jordan and Oprah Winfrey. Oprah has used the power of positive visualization to help her stay focused on her goals and achieve success. Okay, gotcha. So why not give the power of positive visualization a try? Good call to action, DT. I am on it. In fact, it's time to get into some details and explain how it actually...
But first, break number 2.
We know a lot about you already because we know ourselves. For example, we know that you know how to listen to our podcast. We also know that you probably know how to subscribe. So as soon as you're done with that, tell us your story. We have ways you can contact us. It involves a special link where you can leave us a message. We may have an email address for you as well in the future, and we'll let you know if that happens. The reason for subscribing? I thought you'd never ask. When you subscribe, you automatically download all future episodes of that podcast. It just happens in your player without you having to go search again. How cool is that? This means better rankings for the podcast, more attention from advertisers, and more money. And this means more and better stuff for you. So your motivation is simple and easy. Subscribe today, whatever app and from whatever place you like. And don't just try to subscribe. There is no try. There is only do. We're changing the way we look at things, and remember, that's good. Eso es bueno, Sybil. Also remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. Our call to action is right in the show notes. Find it and you win too. So we're talking about this concept in which we imagine good. We are. It's all about focusing on the positive and investing in yourself and others to create a better future. As Gail said, it's a bit hard to see ourselves objectively, and that's true. Yeah, how is it that you refer to it? Oh, you probably mean the bit I said before about how I'm too close to my baby to tell if it's ugly. Which you said before. Yeah, like minutes ago. Yeah, that's the one. It really does make sense to take a step back sometimes. Exactly. It's like this simple solution to the world's problems. Or at least what we perceive as being the world's problems. Good addition there, DT. We focus on the good and invest in ourselves, others, and our environment. That's great, but how do we actually do that? Good cue, DT. Let's start with imagining a really common situation. One we might all face? Yeah, from time to time anyway. Okay.
That's good.
Here, my lord, is the place of our good mental image. Thank you well, my dear DT. So in this situation, yes, we find ourselves, shall we say, less than fulfilled about our next options? Yes. Because why? Because we have not yet imagined. Wait, I thought we were imagining. We are. Bear with my imagination, Alstriblieft. Please, you mean, in English. And I will bear with you, my liege. The happy ending. The happy ending? The same, DT. When we take the time to play the right note about the ending and use a visualization technique to make it the happiest ever, then we free up our brain space to have the quiet mind which gets things done. Yes, without problems. The quiet mind gets things done without our normal human systematic errors. Yes, and correctly invests us. Correctly, meaning in the way we find works for us.
Aye, Captain.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is that you must picture success in order to have a chance at success. And that guarantees your future? Not necessarily, but it's a great place to start. What about the action taking you always want us to do? Yeah, we must also take action and use the tools at our disposal to make sure we are investing in a way that will bear fruit. That sounds hard. That's an interesting perspective. It isn't hard. Okay, I just think it's hard. Right, and if you think that way, then for you it is hard. If you don't think that way, it won't be. Yet, you have the answer, right? I do. And if the matter of this podcast be certain, we will have mighty business in hand.
Wow. Shakespeare.
Not quite, Kevin, but close. But since we mix hard with easy every day, in order to change our perception of hard things into easy things, it could be as simple as setting aside time each day for reflection. And creating realistic goals for ourselves. Yeah, or it could involve taking courses. Or seeking out mentors. Right, mentors who will help us achieve our goals.
Goals. Goals are essential for success and they help keep us motivated.
And don't forget that our actions alone won't necessarily be enough to get us where we want to go. It takes... You mean it takes a village? Well, I didn't want to say it that way, but that's sort of correct.
Goals.
What valuable insights do we add then? We must also focus on the bigger picture and make sure our goals are in line with our values and beliefs. Sounds like a lot of work again. It can be, but it's worth it in the end. When we focus on what is good and invest in our future, we set ourselves up for success that will last a lifetime and beyond. Okay, oh source of truth, let's quickly review what we've learned. Sure thing, as long as you say the word practice. Practice? I mean in a sentence. Okay, I practice, persist, and repeat. Yeah, I mean a sentence in context. I guess I'll have to practice that. Practice visualizing? Yeah, that. And practice imagining and thinking about how I'm talking, which you get by intentionally setting aside time to do that every day. Mixing hard with easy. Indeed, DT. Mixing hard with easy every day. How does this fit into that picture? Well, it's easy with this one in the sense that picking out a time which seems to work is easy. It just takes some experience and practice to make sure it's the right time, and that's okay. Right, that's okay, since part of our success is finding the right balance between hard work and easy work. Absolutely, DT. We cannot underestimate the power of interactive visualization and intentional goal setting. We just have to go beyond that a bit and take action.
Which is how you've all gotten good.
Gracias por escuchar.
Salut. À la prochaine.
This podcast and our other podcast are productions of Little Red Hen Industries. The supporting cast who helps me bake the bread includes
Techno King, John C. Brandy, Alter Ego, Doubting Thomas, Fact Checker, A Small Brown Beef Animal, Seriously, Tiny. Facts are important but are also easy. Social Manager, Abraham Lincoln, Media Expert, Augustus Caesar. Psychologist, William James. Sound Designer, Adobe's Creative Suite. Spanish Consultant, Cameron J.K. Brandy. French Consultant, Leah, the Do-Your-Own Research Lady. Videographer, Eto Monkoshki. Audio Props, Les Paul. Inspiration, many podcasts and other sources, and of course Napoleon Hill.
We also have websites, and you can subscribe to both podcasts. You can even send us a video, audio, or text message, but of course, you'll have to head to the show notes, either on your phone or on the web, to get the links and stuff. And all those clickable links are in the show notes.
And before we forget, the artificial intelligence or AI voices that you hear in our work are offered up by Google, Amazon Polly, and OpenAI, like we say in the show notes. They don't sponsor us yet, but we love what they do, and we just love what AI can do when lovingly crafted.
Finally, you can find us on Podmatch.com, Matchmaker.fm, Podbooker and Podcast Guests, where we consider guests and consider guesting on other people's shows.
And really finally, the music for our pods comes from Cute by Bensound and from Piano Background by Nick Simon Adams, as well as from AI MuseNet. The sound effect credits go to Jackson Academy Ashmore, Canusi G, Dr. Jekyll, Joe Payne, Everything Sounds, MK Play More Stories, ERH, Sand Emotions, Big Pickle 51, and Just Kidding. Yes, that's his or her name. All on freesound.org. Also, languages are the bomb.
Paul.